Hello everyone, I have chosen the self-disclosure axiom. Before I begin, remember that the definition of self-disclosure axiom is high levels of uncertainty in a relationship cause decreases in the intimacy level of communication content. Low levels of uncertainty produce high levels of intimacy. So what this means to you and me is that if you feel uncertain with someone, you will not have high levels of intimate conversations. This makes sense. And in reverse, if I am communicating on an intimate level with high levels of disclosure with someone, there's not going to be a lot of uncertainty. This axiom is discussed in a relationship between three things actually: depth of self-disclosure, uncertainty, and intimacy. What Berger is theorizing is that the levels of self-disclosure in the conversation and the overall intimacy of the relationship are directly proportional. Now what I have here is I actually have a little visual representation of the theorem. So you have self-disclosure, I have A, intimacy B, uncertainty C. Those are the variables that I assigned. So A and B are directly proportional. When one goes up, the other one goes up. That makes sense. When self-disclosure goes up, intimacy increases. This is what the theorem states. Intimacy, or over here is intimacy, here's self-disclosure, is inversely proportional to uncertainty, or C. So when one goes up, the other one goes down. That's pretty easy to understand. So simply, when self-disclosure is high, so will the intimacy level, and uncertainty will be low. Now, for my example, I chose my relationship with my wife at the beginning of our relationship. So this theorem can be clearly seen when I first started dating my wife. If you were to look at our relationship on a graph, which I've done right here, I have the x-axis is self-disclosure. Love of self-disclosure corresponds directly with time, and then I have time labeled on the bottom here by months, and the intimacy level is the y-axis. Okay, and the graph's origin is the inception moment of our relationship. So you can look at the chart and plainly see how the level of self-disclosure with her led to an increased level of intimacy and lowered the level of uncertainty I had with her. The graph's origin represents the inception of our relationship when we first met. At first, there was very little self-disclosure and intimacy. As the relationship progressed, we began to feel more comfortable with one another, which led to more self-disclosure, high levels of intimacy, and lower levels of uncertainty. According to the uncertainty reduction theorem presented by Charles Berger, our relationship became more predictable. As our cognitive uncertainty was diminished by our self-disclosure, this in turn increased our intimacy within our relationship. The pattern then became more circular as our actions were reinforced internally. The more disclosed, the closer we became, and the uncertainty about one another was diminished. Of course, this theory does not take into account many other psychological and social factors that could influence it, but overall it's a very good theory and is applicable to interpersonal communication and relationship. Thank you for listening.